Things have changed since the last Apocalypse Joust. More survivors have made their way to safety under the bridge. But it's a more dangerous and unpredictable world. Natural disasters can strike at any time. It's still survive or be destroyed. Welcome to the Apocalypse Joust.
Sometimes to compete at the joust, you gotta grab whatever you have on hand and make some vehicles so you can win the glory and the gas. This might just be the strangest bunch of vehicles that we've had so far. Let's take a closer look. Dharma's Destroyers. I do not know what these are made of, but they look like they are here to compete. Ground Zero Syndicate has a ramp, a very long vehicle, and some survivors. Keeping it together. I don't know if there should be a question mark at the end of that, but will this team be able to keep it together? The Scrap Iron Scarecrows. You can tell that these things mean business. And Sidpocalypse. They look like they're already falling apart, but maybe that's just a strategy. The buffer is in place, sponsored by Track Buffer LLC, and we are ready to charge into battle. Round one, here we go, let's joust. The Dharma Initiative starts us off, sponsored by Sicken. Taking its place, about halfway down the track. Doesn't quite make it all the way down and sets up that ramp. Looks like kind of a spongy ramp. Wastelander will be the first to take it for Ground Zero Syndicate, sponsored by StarCorp Industries. Wastelander floats off that ramp, flies up into the safety area, and is finished. That is the first loss in this match. Upside down means you're out. How many more will meet their fate on this ramp? Next up for Sidpocalypse, Todd. Todd is not successful in taking the ramp, and that is 2 down. Dharma Initiative 242, and looking like trouble so far, a height of 7 before it slams into the wall and goes upside down. Next up to try their luck with this unusual ramp, it is the Charger, sponsored by Beak's Busted Barn Finds, for keeping it together. The Charger takes the ramp, hits the safety barrier, and flops over right side up. That is the first recovery off this ramp, and great news for keeping it together. They kept it together so far. Supply Run, 200 grams, sponsored by the Test Joust series for the Scrap Iron Scarecrows. Boom, there goes the ramp. There's no way that thing is taking the ramp. It's got something underneath it to protect itself from ramps, and that works flawlessly, pinching the ramp in its jaws and pushing it up against the wall. But it does survive. Dharma Initiative still alive, sort of flexing in the middle. Next up for the Destroyers, Jack Shepard, sponsored by Hendrika's Heavy Hauling. Jack Shepard slams into that 200 gram vehicle. That thing is not gonna budge for anyone, I guarantee it. A little guy in the back goes flying off, and you can see that thing is basically hollow on the inside, giving it a low center of gravity. Bombshell, sponsored by Coffee Run for Ground Zero. Bombshell strikes, perfect time to set up this ramp. Jack Shepard handles the hit. And now we're gonna see if this ramp can do the trick. Next up for Sidpocalypse, Liability, sponsored by PriceX Private Parts. Liability proves to be a liability, flipping over, landing on the other ramp, and then flopping it. Done, eliminated, and out for Sidpocalypse. Here comes a long one, the Tank, 93 grams, sponsored by Avery's Reliable Autos for keeping it together. It launches off the ramp and flops over sideways. The big thing in the back could not save it from this. It did not do any damage, jostled some cars around, but nothing changed, just that elimination. Fission, sponsored by Tribble's Troublemakers. Fission looks designed to do exactly this. Take out that ramp, line up behind its teammate, and now it's got kind of a bumpy back. We'll see what that does. Up next, John Locke. You can become a car sponsor, join the Patreon, and support the show. John Locke has a little surprise in the back. It's marbles, gigantic marbles. They fly everywhere, and Bombshell is flipped over, can't quite make a recovery. John Locke, however, lands it after dumping out its load of marbles. They've rolled everywhere. We'll see if they come into play. Nuclear Enforcer, sponsored by K&E Stewart Agri-Services for the Syndicate. The Enforcer hits that barrel on Fission and flips over straight upside down and out. That'll be a loss for Ground Zero. It's not a ramp, but it is proving deadly to cars. 121 gram Mr. London, sponsored by Farty Marty for Sidpocalypse. Mr. London hits the barrel, goes up, bounces on top, and then flops over, doomed. That will be another loss for Sid. Next up to tangle with Fission, it will be Stunt Ramp, 115 grams. Stunt Ramp hits it and doesn't quite flip over, is not able to stay on the track and set up that ramp. It kind of gets tangled up in some cars and starts to settle back down. Will it recover? Nitro Fuel up now for Scrap Iron Scarecrow, sponsored by Emo Dingo. Nitro Fuel slots in rather nicely. Doesn't really change anything. No damage there. We've got 3 Scrap Iron Scarecrow vehicles on the track. So far, none of them have been pushed off. Ben Linus, sponsored by Jesus. This one's got a surprise also. Ben Linus already dropping marbles on the way down. Some Mint Maniacs there. Nitro Fuel gets the boot. Ben Linus tips, dumps its payload on the track. We've got marbles everywhere. This next hit is gonna be fun. It's a long one too. Atomic Ride, 121 grams, sponsored by Reaper EOD. Atomic Ride looking very much like an actual roller coaster. When it hits those marbles, ramps off of them, kind of rolls over them. Ben Linus manages to recover, and on that hit, Bombshell recovers. That ramped bus gets turned over. Atomic Ride is out, but what a ride it was. Hit, sponsored by Chris and Kat's Casa de Chaos. It's got a little plow on the front, does a good job of locking in after hitting the barrel. And now we'll see if that ramp has any traction on the back of it. Looks a little warped, not sure it's gonna do much. Unit Crusher, sponsored by Torgoth the Infinite Horror. Unit Crusher uses that giant wooden implement on the car that's strapped on there, gets underneath, and stays on the track. And now, just to add to the chaos, we've got a random event. It's a rock slide. First we had marbles, now we've got rocks. Sponsored by the Mad Brit King. The rocks pour down on the track, and now they're gonna go flying everywhere on this next hit. And it's another pretty large one. Channel 6, 200 grams, sponsored by William Aronson of the Joust Network. Channel 6, a surprisingly soft hit. It goes up on the rocks, pushes into the line, smushes the line a little bit, does not do any damage yet. Look at the low blade of metal on the back of that truck. Nobody's getting underneath that. The Smoke Monster, sponsored by Mark the Music Lover. Smoke Monster slots in, hit, starts to topple down the track farther, and that thing on the back, I think it was a ramp, is kind of coming loose. Nuclear Agent, sponsored by Muka Horse Farm. Nuclear Agent hits a pretty tight wall. Dharma's Destroyer's vehicles have held up rather well in this match so far. 2 big hits, despite not looking like they would. Taco, sponsored by Shadow Wolf. Taco slams into Nuclear Agent and goes over and makes the recovery happen. Finally got a recovery for Sid Apocalypse. Although hit topples farther down the track, Agent is kaput. Sweetie for keeping it together, sponsored by Judy Collins. Sweetie hits the line, keeps it locked in, and now is gonna take a hit from Nova Blast, 140 grams, sponsored by Sloth's Automotive Sachet and Buffet. Nova Blast is heavy and forces the line forward whether it wants to or not. 200 gram Channel 6 is pushed. A lot of vehicles push. I don't see anything that looks eliminated to me, not yet. That was the final car of the round. I'm guessing we're gonna have to take some measurements though. 10 eliminations, and we are gonna take 1 measurement, and it's gonna be on Uni Crusher with that big wood implement. It's way beyond 45, 59 degrees based on the wheels. That'll take us up to 11 eliminations. 2 teams are in big trouble already. Looking at the aftermath, Sid Apocalypse and Ground Zero Syndicate are down to just 1 each. Amazingly, Dharma's Destroyers and Scrap Iron Scarecrows did not lose a single vehicle. Keeping it together, lost 3, they are down to 2. 2 teams in trouble and 2 teams way out in the lead as we start round 2. Channel 6 will hit the road first. Slotting into position down at the end of the track. This thing is so wide it just barely fits the track, but it is solidly locked in. The Dharma Initiative sent down next and manages to set up that ramp after a little bounce, proving flexible yet durable. The Charger takes the ramp and keeping it together loses another one. They are now in deep trouble with only 1 car remaining in the match. Unless it recovers by some sort of miracle. We've got an alert. It looks like there are zombies on the prowl and they have invaded the track. swarming Dharma Initiative, sponsored by Evil Twin. Let's see what happens. Taco slams into the zombies and still goes up off the ramp, flipping over, getting caught on the torch on the side of Dharma Initiative. It needs to get out of that position, or Sidpocalypse may be finished. Ground Zero Syndicate ramps it and manages to slot in on the other side of the initiative. For now, safe, but that is not a great position to be in. Here comes the ramp destroyer. It is Supply Run, and it destroys a ramp, but not the one you expect. Bombshell reaches a 9 with the back end, with the ramp, flips over, is eliminated, and it looks like Ground Zero Syndicate will join Sidpocalypse. Both teams eliminated, Supply Run still managing not to take that ramp. John Locke slams into Supply Run, flips over a couple of times. It looks like there were still a couple marbles lodged in the back. One of them comes flying out, knocks over a couple of zombies. It looks like John Locke might be close to 45 there. Sweetie has a pretty good result to back of Supply Run, driving up on the flatbed and parking for the moment. And here comes Fission, gets underneath Supply Run. Scrap Iron Scarecrows might be their own worst enemy in this situation when they have a large percentage of the cars remaining. Sweetie survives the hit. Jack Shepard slams into the line. Supply Run is being pushed up, but is staying attached to Dharma Initiative. Nova Blast rockets into the line again. Dharma's destroyers proving durable despite appearances. Nothing changed on that hit. Ben Linus does not want to rock the boat and lines up. We're backing up the track now. It's Scarecrows versus Dharma as Nitro Fuel gets kind of caught up but manages to flip back over on the track. Ben Linus also looks like it made a recovery. Smoke Monster forces Nitro Fuel off the track. It handles it and lands upright. That is going to be the end of round 2. We've got 3 eliminations and 1 measurement. One team still did not lose a vehicle. John Locke got wedged against the side of the track and is way beyond 45. That will be out. So 4 eliminations it will be. Scrap Iron Scarecrows dominating this match. No eliminations yet. Dharma's Destroyer is also looking great with 4 left. Sidpocalypse, Ground Zero Syndicate have been eliminated. Keeping it together is still holding on at 1. This match is not over by far as Channel 6 lines up. Keeping it together just has to keep in the game. And Dharma Initiative will be the big test for keeping it together. We'll see if Sweetie can handle the ramp. Sweetie handles it, no problem. Flipping over and spinning and landing it. Boom, keeping it together will make it out of the round. Now it's up to these other 2 teams to battle it out. Already Dharma Initiative has been removed from the track by the ramp takedown machine, Fission. If the Scrap Iron Scarecrows make it out of this match, other teams with ramped vehicles are going to have to watch out for this one. Ben Linus was locked in, but the super heavy Supply Run sends it up and just about over. It is good for the moment, though. Fission thrown off the track by that hit, but look at that recovery. Lands over next to Sweetie. No eliminations in the round yet. Dharma Initiative recovered. Well, it looks like Winnebago might want to try to change that. Random event time sponsored by DYW Production Labs. Here comes Winnebago. Winnebago hits the line and Jack Shepard goes flying into the air all the way down to the end, hits the wall and lands it. No damage there. Winnebago not able to do anything here. While the cars line up, I just want to let you know there won't be a regular episode next Sunday. We will skip a Sunday and release the finals as one gigantic long episode, so prepare for that in 2 weeks. It's going to be really long. An epic final joust unlike anything we've ever seen. Despite everything that happened in that round, not a single elimination. We're going to increase the speed that the vehicles come down at. We will get these eliminations. Looks like Winnebago's rampage is getting worse now. Not much happened with that last one. And there's another one. Winnebago is tantruming on the track, right behind the track buffer. What is going to happen with Winnebago lying there? Channel 6 cannot move it too far down the track. Suddenly it's kind of like a tractor pull, but reversed. And it looks like the action's gonna happen way back down the track now because of this rampage. Dharma Initiative can't quite lock it in here. But Sweetie is able to avoid the ramp, at least for the moment. Fission zooms in and messes things around a little bit. Look at Sweetie fly up into the air. What a recovery after that hit. Dharma Initiative wobbles around a little bit, but is still right side up. But then, oh no, tragedy strikes. Ben Linus taking out Dharma Initiative and itself. A double takedown, and that is really bad news for Dharma Initiative. Exactly what Keeping It Together is looking for here. And finally, the entire line is pushed down by the 200-gram supply run. Jack Shepherd plows ineffectively into supply run, bounces way back. These are some light vehicles against some very heavy ones. But then Nova Blast tightens things up again. And the rest of the vehicles in the round will come down, lock it in, and there will be no further action. But we've got 2 eliminations in the round, and they are both from Dharma's Destroyers. Let's take a look at the aftermath. Dharma's Destroyers fall to 2. Keeping It Together is doing exactly that at 1. Scrap Iron Scarecrows, wow, not a single elimination on this team yet. Can they make it through with no eliminations? Here we go, kicking off round 5 with Channel 6. Slotting in down at the end. Can anything get this vehicle off the track? It is looking hard to do. Jack Shepherd with a big bounce back, followed up by Sweetie, who tightens things back up again. Fission with a mighty undercut, and it does the damage. Sweetie flipping up, going over, can't quite make the recovery happen. The timing got put off by landing back on top of Fission again. And right now, Jack Shepherd looks close to 45, but probably alive. And now there's an earthquake. Sponsored by Stump's Tree Farm. For the most part, these initial tremors have not done a whole lot of damage this season, but I feel like it'll get worse when we get to the main event and there's a lot more cars. Ooh, no! Smoke Monster gets a bad bounce on the barrel and flips over sideways. Suddenly, it's all falling apart for Dharma's Destroyers. Oh no, Supply Run does not make it any better. Wow, Channel 6 almost got dislodged by its own teammate. But look at that, Jack Shepherd flips over sideways. Both vehicles are eliminated unless something happens here. Nova Blast slots in. The Scrap Iron Scarecrows are all on the track. Nitro Fuel does not change that. They are the last team standing. There are no other teams alive. And Scrap Iron Scarecrows have thrown the gauntlet to all the other teams. This is gonna be a team to look out for. Every car except Scrap Iron Scarecrows has been eliminated from the match. Dharma's Destroyers and Keeping It Together are out. We will go to the points. As you might have expected, Dharma's Destroyers are gonna make it into the main event. They had a couple good rounds and it was enough to keep them around. Keeping It Together will not make it into the wild card. 11 points, not enough to do it. These two teams have been victorious and they will make it to the main event. There are now 14 teams in the main event. We have 2 more qualifiers before we find out who is going to be in both of the main events. That was a fun match, but now Baby Humongous Cookie says we got to take cover again. The dust storm is coming in. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Junkyard Joust.